and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thank you as always for being here. I am so excited about today's video. I have a bunch of new fall crafts. Love these. Let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number one. All right, I've already got my rubbing alcohol out. It's just isopropyl alcohol. I am cleaning up this trash to treasure drawer, oh my goodness, jar that I had in my drawer in my stash. And these are some fall leaves from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to actually peel them away from their little stems here. All I am after is the leaves themselves. All of today's projects are inspired by things that I saw online as I was Googling, I think it was Fall Decor DIYs. I was just looking for some inspiration, and y'all, I found some for this video. I am so happy with these projects. I think they're super cute, and I hope that you enjoy them too. But for this first one, I've got my Mod Podge. As you can see, I de-leaved that entire stem, and I'm going to be applying these leaves to my glass jar with my Mod Podge. Now, when I saw this one project, I did read that it is a little bit easier to apply these if you iron them and if you wait until the Mod Podge is a little bit drier and tacky. Did I do either of those things when I started attempting this? No, of course not, because I'm me and I just want to get right into it. I have no patience. So, yeah. I struggled big time with this project. You'll see in a minute that I do end up trying to iron them, and I would say that that helped as far as when I was applying the leaves to the flat area of the jar. So with this one, as you can see, I'm kind of curving it around the bottom of the jar, and it just wanted nothing to do with that. It wanted to keep popping up. And so here I am. I've got my little Cricut ironing mat out. I've got some parchment paper I'm putting over top to keep from scorching them or having them melt to my little mini easy press. And I'm just ironing them. You could use a regular iron. If you have an easy press, you can use that. Just trying to see if I can get them a little bit flattened out, so hopefully they won't lift quite as much. And here you can see it's a little bit drier, so now I was trying to heed that advice to see if that was going to help allow me to press the edges down a little bit more. So it all turned out really nice, but I definitely struggled getting there. So I'm just going to continue to apply all of these leaves around the jar with the same method, just applying Mod Podge. I went over it probably a few times as I went. I would go over a leaf, apply another one, go over that leaf, try and press down the edges of the previous leaves, and so on and so on. So it definitely took a little bit of patience and a little bit of determination, but I got her done, and really happy with the result. But while I am doing this, you all have heard me talk about my sister quite a bit. She helps me on the back end with my videos. She does all my description boxes. She honestly is a godsend. She puts together all my compilation videos when I have those out for you all to watch. So huge shout out to my sister. And she has started an endeavor of her own, and I would consider it a personal favor, even if you're not interested in what she's doing, just to go and give her a follow for me. She's trying to get the word out on what she's trying to do. And, you know, it's really hard when you start with social media to gain that following, and any interaction will just help her. So if you wouldn't mind going out to Instagram or Facebook. I think she's on TikTok too, but maybe not quite as active on there. And just give her a follow, a like, give her a kind word for me. That would be wonderful. Her handle is KC Healthy Wealth, and I'll have those links in my description box just to make it easy. So shameless plug for Kim, but she's one of my favorite people in the entire world, and I would honestly do anything for her. So thank you in advance for your support of her, because you guys are all awesome and wonderful. So here is the jar finally dry with my leaves adhered. So I managed to get it done, as I mentioned, and now I'm just pulling out some raffia from the Dollar Tree and going to get, I think I had 4 or 5 strands of this, and I'm just going to wrap it around the neck of the jar, and I'm going to tie it into a little bow here. So just a very simple bow, trying to keep all the strands together so that they don't get all tangled up and cause me a headache. So I'll lay it down here in a second to tie the bow so you can see what I'm doing. And I started to tie it regular, and I always go from under to over with my bows on that loop around. I don't know if you noticed that, but I've noticed that when I do it the opposite way, my bows lay straighter. When I do it the other way, they always end up at a like weird angle and tilt. So I reminded myself, do it the other way. And I went to grab my scissors to trim off these ends, and then I decided, you know what? I don't want them that perfect. Sometimes when you cut it with a scissor, it looks not rustic enough, if that's, I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway, I ended up deciding I was going to tear them off because I wanted the ends to remain a little bit frayed and more natural looking. So that was why I did that. You can certainly trim them with the scissors if that is your preference. It's just not the look that I was going for this one. And then I'm going to apply a little bit of hot glue right up under the knot. I don't want the glue to be visible, but I wanted to just give it a little bit more support. I'm just using like a little end of a skewer there to try and tuck that glue up underneath, and just pressing down on the knot of my bow to make sure it was adhered. And now I'm ready for my little candle. I think this is absolutely adorable the way it turned out, but you'll have to let me know what you think here. And I've got a new way of showing off my latest projects. DIY number 2. All right, these are ironically some remnants. I don't know how I ended up with 2 remnants of this wired jute cord from the Dollar Tree. I clearly have used some of both of these packages, and randomly they ended up being exactly the same length that I had left. It might have been off by like an inch. Right here, I'm just trying to figure out if I've got enough for my project. Spoiler alert, I did. But I'm just trying to see how long they are, if they compare. And look at how close they are. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I am going to have to try and save the fraying on the ends there in order to make sure that I've got enough length. So what I'm going to be doing is, first of all, I'm going to cut this in half, actually each of these in half, because I need 4 lengths. I did not measure them. If I had to guess, I would say they're probably a good 16 inches each, but that's honestly a guess. Maybe it's more like 18 inches, but I tend to be visual, you guys. I do everything by sight, well, not everything. I do measure some things, but it's not my strong suit. I tend to be more visual. But to save those ends, and even the ends that weren't yet fraying, I'm adding a little bit of hot glue. Please be careful not to burn yourself. I know you guys yell at me sometimes because I'm always using my bare fingers with the hot glue. Just be very, very careful. But I'm going to twist this end back up around that wire. I'm going to trim off some of that metal that was kind of sticking out. A little bit of hot glue. As you can see, I'm kind of cooling it off. This is sped up. I didn't go right in on it. And I did test it. It was still a little warm, so I was fanning it again. But essentially, I was applying some hot glue, waiting for it to cool a little bit, and then helping to twist that end up to secure it and make sure that it wasn't going to unravel. And now I'm taking my 4 strands, I'm getting them all lined up, and I'm going to bend them in half again. When I find the middle, I'm going to twist it a couple of times. It just occurred to me in watching this that I probably could have used a tiny piece of additional wire to secure the middle rather than twisting it up like that, because I did end up creating a little bit of a gap at the bottom. I don't think you can tell with the finished product, so I think either way would be fine, but that's another option for you. So now I have a whole bunch of wooden beads that I've had in my stash. These were picked up not by, but I picked them up on Amazon a while back, and I've been using them for a number of different projects. And I am just going to thread them onto the jute cords. Some of these are a little bit thicker than others, and with some of my beads I also found that there was the holes that were drilled through weren't completely cleared, so you're going to see me in just a second realizing that there's some just wood fragments in there that I cleared out with that same little skewer tip that I had used before. So I'm just going to thread these smaller wooden beads down on to my my jute cord strands. And you can use whatever size beads you want. I just opted to do it in this particular pattern. I'm doing 2 of these smaller beads, and then I'm going to come in with a larger bead, and then I'm going to alternate that pattern. So you'll be able to see here as I speed through it a little bit more. So you can see I've got 2 of the smaller beads on each of my 8 strands, right? Because I had 4 that I twisted in the middle to create a total of 8. Hopefully that's making sense. Now I'm coming down with my larger beads and then I will apply or thread on another 2 of the smaller beads, and I'll just continue that pattern on up until I get to the place where I want to stop. I'm going to leave, I would say maybe 2.5 inches of the jute cord at the end. So I'm going to thread it all the way up to that point here. And then you're going to see in a second, I'm going to start bringing these all together at the top. And I'm going to attempt with all 8 at once to twist them together. While I was able to do that, I was not able to do it to the extent or tightness, I should say, that I wanted to. I felt like some of the little stems, so to speak, were kind of not all the way engaged. So it wasn't looking the way that I wanted it to. So I ended up starting to pull out some of the ones that weren't fully engaged. You're going to see me doing that in just a second. I'm still trying to manipulate it here. But I did find that if I did a couple of them at a time and just one by one started wrapping them around the stem that I'd created here, I'm starting to pull them out, you can see. I found that it worked better if I did them a couple of, like one at a time. So I started with 2. Here, I'm kind of pulling it all apart now. You shall see. All right, so now I'm going to start with 2. I'm going to twist them together really well, and then I'm just going to start adding them in. I'm trying to go opposite. So, and yeah, well, that was my intent, and then I ended up not going completely opposite, but just trying to make sure that I'm keeping them all lined up, so not crossing them over at the base. I want them all to come up individually and have their own space. Hopefully I'm explaining this properly, but you'll see what I'm saying, I think. But once I had them all twisted together, it was much tighter at the top. There wasn't a lot of a gap with the jute cord, and I was much happier with the way that it was working out. And I was amazed that this stood up on its own the way that it did. I really was prepared for it to be a little bit more floppy, and I was thinking I might need to put some kind of a center support in it, but I honestly didn't. And as you saw, I just added a little bit more hot glue to the very top of the stem that I've created, just to help provide it with a little bit more stability, to ensure that it's not going to unravel on me, and then also just to make sure that those little pointy ends, oh my goodness, the pointy ends from the wire jute weren't sticking out and going to hurt anyone. Oh boy. So now I am just gluing down some leftover greenery that I had to create leaves, and I thought it'd be fun to put a little one of these leaves in here to kind of decorate the top of my pumpkin. I suppose this could also be considered an apple, if that's what you want to call it. I did think about painting the beads, but I love it just like this. Let me know what you think. DIY number 3. All right, I've got some more leaves. I've got the leaves that I have left over from the first project, and then I'm going to be doing the same thing with some of these others from the Dollar Tree. You also saw me stretching out a balloon there. So once I got all of my leaves ready and pulled apart, I was ready to start in on this project. I'm gonna start with blowing up my balloon. And I will warn you all, this project was honestly a hot mess in the making, but it turned out really fun and super cute, I think. I was pleasantly surprised by the end result. Let's just say that. So what you saw me doing there, after I tied a knot in the balloon, I had anchored some wire onto it to just weight it down, and I stuck it inside a mason jar just so that it wouldn't move on me while I was, well, it moves a little bit, but a lot better this way than me just trying to hold it. But now I've got my matte Mod Podge that I showed you a second ago, and I'm just giving a good generous coat to the top of my balloon. And then I'm going to be coming in with my leaves. Now, y'all saw the struggle I had with the first project. Of course, I didn't iron these either. But you know what? I kind of like the effect, and they did not all lay down flat. I will tell you that right now. There definitely were leaf ends that were sticking out right to the end, and I was actually okay with that because I was honestly curious to see what it would end up doing. If you are wondering what it is that I am trying to create here, it's actually going to be a bowl. So I am using the shape of the balloon to get that bowl shape, and I'm just continuing to go around and around with more leaves. You're going to see in a second that I actually ended up just starting to dip them into the Mod Podge, my big Mod Podge bucket. There you go, and slapping them on that way. I used a lot of Mod Podge on this because I just wanted to make sure that it was going to be cohesive, and I'm trying to make sure that the leaves are all overlapping sufficiently so that I don't have any holes. So once I had that all slathered up, I let it sit overnight, and look at this. It's not rolling. It's like amazing. I was really pleasantly surprised. Took a pin, popped the balloon. It came right out. I was a little worried at first because it kind of pulled my bowl together with it because it's not super rigid. It holds its form, but it's definitely pliable. And I don't know if it was because it was still drying. You can kind of see that it still had a few little spots where it was still wet. But I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to continue to be somewhat pliable. So it won't hold anything super heavy, but it'll definitely hold little things. And you'll see in a minute that I did put a bunch of little, they've got those Dollar Tree little ball things. I don't even know what they're called. Vase filler maybe, but you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't honestly know what they're called, but I think they're super cute. So right now I'm just trimming away some of the Mod Podge that had been on the balloon surface but not covered with a leaf, just to trim that away. It's almost like just trimming away plastic. I don't even know how else to describe it. But here I'm just testing the bowl, and I think it's super cute, but let me know what you think. And now it's time for a shout out timeout. Super cute, Kathy. Can I tell you, I am so looking forward to Christmas crafting. These are awesome. I would love to give you a shout out as well. If you have interest, just send me an email at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 4. All right, more leaves. These, I'm not sure where these came from. They've been in my stash for a bit. Maybe they were from Walmart. I'm not sure. It doesn't have the same type of label as I normally see in the Dollar Tree, but might very well have been from Dollar Tree too. I can't tell. It would have been either Dollar Tree, Michael's, Walmart, Hobby Lobby. I don't know. This label is not ringing a bell for me, but I thought that they were super pretty, and I'm mixing them up with some of the others that I had already pulled apart. And I have a string of Dollar Tree battery operated lights. This is such a quick project, super easy. Anybody can do this. If you don't want to use hot glue, you could use school glue. I'm sure it would just take obviously some more time to dry. But I am just applying a teeny tiny bit of glue onto the light. Well, I applied it to the leaf, set down the light, applied a little to the light, set down my other leaf. So I'm basically making these double-sided. I imagine for a lot of these projects, you could probably use actual, well, maybe not for all of them. For this, maybe you could use real leaves if you have pretty fall leaves out in your yard. I'm not really sure, but they'll certainly last longer if you use the Dollar Tree ones. But I love this. Let me know what you think. DIY number 5. All right, these are frames that I literally saved from the trash. They are branded, and the company didn't need them anymore, and I guess branding changed, and yeah, so wasn't gonna happen. I'm just gonna paint over it so that the brand isn't visible, and using my plaster chalk paint to do so. Here they are all painted. They are perfect for what I'm looking to do. I am super excited. I think this turned out so sweet. But I'm just going to set those aside for a moment. And I've got my backing from the inside of the frame. This is just computer paper. It's the legal size paper. Is that what it's called? I think so. But anyway, it's larger than the 8.5 by 11. I think it's by 11 by 17. I folded it in 3 pieces. I actually have a couple of sheets here. And I am just, I did it this way, so I only had to cut it out once. And I'll have the backdrops for all 3 of my frames, and 2 sheets per. I'm not sure why I decided to do 2 sheets. I guess I figured I just wanted, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you why I do the things I do sometimes. It's just in my head, that's what works. And so that's what I do. But I'm going to put the backing behind it, and yeah, just get these prepped for my next step for what's going to be going into these frames. I don't know if you noticed the name of this video, but it was fall leaves and a pumpkin. So here we've got more fall leaves. Every single one of these projects has been fall leaves except for the pumpkin. And even the pumpkin had a little fall leaf on it. But I've got my leaves here, and gonna just put a little tiny bit of hot glue down. This middle one is also from a Dollar Tree pick. I just snagged the one leaf off of it for this particular project. And the one on the left, that one might have been from a larger Hobby Lobby pick, to be honest. I don't remember, but I went to my stash and just pulled a random leaf off of a couple of different picks. So here I'm just trying to make sure that my glass is clean, because I don't know if you could tell with the backing on these frames, it's got like this velvet situation going on, and the black flocking, I guess it's flocking, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but it was kind of coming off, so I had little black fuzz on my glass. So just trying to get that cleaned up. The rubbing alcohol dries super fast, so I had gotten a little bit of it on my paper, but no harm, no foul. It dried up really quickly, and you never knew that it had even happened. So I would just recommend cleaning your glass before you put your projects together, and then you'll be good to go. Honestly, window cleaner is probably better than rubbing alcohol. The rubbing alcohol I find does streak a little bit, but it's what I had close at hand and what I opted to use. So just going to sandwich those little leaves between their backing and the glass. And then I'm ready to pop them back into their frames. And I absolutely love the end result on these. when I saw this idea online, I think it was like a gallery wall, and I want to say they had probably, I don't know, 16 maybe different leaves all lined up in frames on the wall, and I just thought it was super cute. But I thought 3 would be quite all right, and these could be set up on a table somewhere or hung on the wall, but just a really pretty, elegant touch of fall. And let me know what you think. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the projects, remember to give me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know which one was your favorite. And until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.